Big news. Your soulmate has decided to leave the country, and the person they are leaving with is none other than my beautiful soul. I know your heart feels like it has been shattered into a million pieces today. Not the kind of shattering that leaves clean edges you can press back together with time and patience, but the kind that turns everything to powder, to dust, to something so fine it slips through your fingers no matter how tightly you try to hold on. You have just received the incredibly painful news that the person your spirit recognizes as home, the one whose voice has lived in the deepest chambers of your chest like a permanent resident, has chosen to pack their bags and cross the ocean. And the absolute hardest part to swallow, the part that makes the breath catch painfully at the back of your throat, is that they are not making this journey alone. They have chosen to take that toxic third party with them, the exact same individual who deliberately tried to sabotage your happiness, the one who operates from a place of deep jealousy and fear, the one who saw what you and this person had and decided, out of their own hollow desperation, that they needed to dismantle it brick by brick. Right now, your mind is screaming. You are looking at the physical evidence, the plane tickets, the packed bags, the timestamps on their social media, the absence of a message from them in your inbox, and it feels like the ultimate defeat. It feels like the universe took your most vulnerable hope, the one you carefully wrapped in silence and carried alone for so long, and publicly dropped it on concrete. But beneath this loud, chaotic, heartbreaking reality, there is a profound and entirely unseen transformation occurring that the rest of the physical world is completely blind to. It is not making a sound. It is not announcing itself with fanfare or visible signs. But your deepest intuition, that ancient, knowing part of you that has always been several steps ahead of your rational mind, is already picking up on its frequency, already tuning into it the way a radio finds a signal through static. I need you to take a slow, grounding breath and completely pause your panic. I need you to stop the spiral before it pulls you under, because the spiral will lie to you. It will show you worst-case scenarios dressed up as certainties. It will present you with permanent conclusions dressed in the costume of this single, devastating moment. And none of it is the full picture. Because the agonizing scenario you are witnessing right now is not a permanent ending. For years, and only you know the true depth of how many years, you have hidden your pain behind a brave smile. You have performed contentment so convincingly that even the people closest to you never suspected the massive, unexplainable void you carried inside your chest every single morning when you woke up, every single night before you finally surrendered to sleep. You have always harbored a fierce, undeniable instinct that this specific person is eternally tethered to your spirit. Not tethered in the way of obsession or delusion, but tethered in the way of something ancient and pre-decided, something that existed in the blueprint of your life long before you ever had the vocabulary to describe it. You have felt it in moments you could not explain to anyone. In the way certain songs cracked you open without warning. In the way their name in a conversation across a crowded room could make the rest of the noise disappear entirely. And while you are weeping over this delay, because that is exactly what this is, a delay and not a death, you must understand a critical and cosmic secret that the universe does not broadcast loudly but writes quietly into the architecture of every great love story that has ever survived impossible odds. This agonizing period of distance is not a punishment. It never was. Every single tear you have shed, every sleepless night spent dissecting conversations and searching for the moment things began to unravel, every agonizing delay and every heartbreaking silence, they have not been evidence of your failure. They have been evidence of the construction. Like the scaffolding that surrounds a building under renovation, ugly and inconvenient and blocking the view of what is being built beneath it, every painful chapter of this story has been actively sculpting the perfect environment for your ultimate union. If the universe had forced the two of you together right now, in this exact moment, while they are still entirely blinded by the manipulation of that third party, while their perception is clouded and their judgment compromised by someone who feeds on chaos, your beautiful connection would have been instantly poisoned. It would have had no room to breathe, no solid ground to stand on, no version of itself that could survive the contamination. A love of this magnitude, one that carries the weight of genuine soul recognition, demands absolute divine timing. It cannot be rushed by human desperation or forced by the sheer intensity of longing, no matter how sincere that longing is. So let them board the plane. Let them go. They believe they are escaping. They truly think that crossing borders with this karmic partner is going to bring them the ultimate freedom and joy they have been desperately searching for. There is a particular kind of blindness that descends on people when they are in the grip of a karmic entanglement. It looks, from the inside, exactly like clarity. It feels like finally making a bold decision, finally choosing themselves, finally stepping into something new and full of promise. But the reality is entirely different from the story they are telling themselves, and the universe has never once been fooled by the stories we tell ourselves when we are running from something we do not yet have the courage to face. As they step into that foreign country, as the unfamiliar air fills their lungs and the novelty of the new surroundings temporarily occupies their mind, a deeply unsettling psychological shift is going to begin within them. It will not arrive dramatically. It will not happen with screaming arguments in hotel lobbies or explosive confrontations in the middle of a foreign street. Instead, it will begin quietly, a haunting and relentless silence that grows louder the more they try to ignore it. They will be sitting across from the third party, the person they sacrificed everything they had with you to choose, and a sudden, crushing wave of emptiness will wash over them. Inexplicable, unreasonable by every external metric. Because the view outside the window is beautiful, because the food is good, because there is nothing visibly wrong, and yet the hollow ache in their chest will refuse to be explained away by beautiful scenery or new experiences. They will not immediately understand why. That is the nature of this particular awakening. It does not arrive with a label or a diagnosis. It arrives as a vague and persistent unease, like wearing a coat that fits perfectly from the outside but sits wrong against the skin. They will try to talk themselves out of it. They will look across the table at the third party and remind themselves of every reason they made this choice. But the reasons will start to sound hollow even as they recite them internally. Everything they previously convinced themselves was enough, was good enough, was close enough to what they truly wanted, will begin to lose its color. Like a painting left too long in direct sunlight, the vibrancy will fade and what was underneath, the emptiness that was always there but hidden by the excitement of the new, will start to show. The mundane conversations will begin to feel suffocating. The daily routines they share with the third party will feel like going through motions in a play where they have forgotten why they auditioned for this particular role. And in those intensely quiet moments, when the noise of the new city fades into the background, when the third party is asleep or in the other room, when there is nothing to distract them from the interior of their own mind, an invisible and magnetic energy will graze against their spirit. It will not announce itself. It will arrive the way all the most important things arrive, silently, and with absolute authority. It will feel like a phantom memory of your warmth, a presence that carries no name in their conscious mind yet feels overwhelmingly safe and familiar. The way certain childhood smells can transport you completely before you even realize what is happening. They will freeze. For a split second, their entire world will go quiet. The foreign city sounds, the background hum of wherever they are, all of it will recede. And even though they will shake it off and return to their surface life, that energetic imprint will refuse to leave. It will not beg for their attention. It will simply remain, patiently and persistently, growing more undeniable with every quiet evening, every moment of genuine solitude, every sunrise that finds them more hollow than the last. Because you cannot outrun a soul contract. You can buy plane tickets and change continents and surround yourself with noise and novelty and the company of someone who has never truly seen you, but the soul knows what it is tethered to, and it will keep delivering that message no matter how many borders you cross to escape it. And while all of this is unfolding in their interior landscape, you must understand something essential. You are not simply sitting on the sidelines of your own life, waiting passively for the universe to arrange things in your favor. You are undergoing your own massive and necessary transformation. The pain of this period, as real and as searing as it is, has been doing something extraordinary to you beneath the surface. It has been stripping away every false version of yourself that you adopted to make yourself more palatable, more available, more accommodating to people who were never worthy of that level of accommodation. You have used this agonizing season to completely rebuild your boundaries from the ground up, not as walls built from bitterness, but as fences built from genuine self-knowledge and hard-won self-respect. You are no longer the person who accepts breadcrumbs and calls them a feast. You are no longer the person who quiets their own voice to keep the peace, who shrinks their own light to avoid making others uncomfortable, who tolerates connections that leave them emptier than solitude. Something fundamental has shifted in you during these months of pain. You have cultivated a quality that cannot be faked or fast-tracked, an immense, grounded patience that is rooted not in resignation but in genuine trust. The kind of patience that comes from having been tested at your absolute limit and discovering that you did not break. That you bent, and wept, and questioned everything, but you did not break. This emotional maturity is not incidental. It is the very thing that guarantees that when the false tower finally collapses and they return to your orbit, you will not repeat the old patterns. Your eyes will be completely open. Your heart will be present but no longer desperate. You will be capable of receiving what is coming without the fear and grasping energy that desperation always brings, because desperation, however understandable, creates a vibration that pushes away the very thing it reaches for. But radical emotional openness, the kind you are being forged into right now, is magnetic in a way that requires no effort, no performance, no strategy. The physical miles separating you are entirely irrelevant to the cosmos. Distance is a human construct, measured in kilometers and time zones and flight hours. But what exists between you and this person has never operated by those rules. There is a luminous and indestructible cord that ties your heartbeat directly to theirs, woven from every moment of genuine recognition, every conversation that went somewhere real, every instance where they looked at you and you both felt, without saying it, that something was happening that neither of you had words for yet. Every agonizing trial you have both survived, separately and together, has been meticulously threading this moment into existence. And right now, in ways invisible to every human instrument of measurement, the tension on that cord is forcefully pulling both of you back toward alignment. You might notice it in unexpected ways. Unprompted waves of deep serenity that wash over you in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. A strange expansion in your chest, something almost like joy, that arrives without any logical trigger. Moments of startling calm that interrupt your grief without warning, brief but unmistakable. Do not dismiss these. Do not rationalize them away or attribute them to exhaustion or distraction. They are the energetic shadow of their soul reaching toward yours before their physical body has caught up with what their spirit is already beginning to understand. This is how the reconnection begins, not in airports or on doorsteps, but in the invisible world that runs underneath this one, in the quiet conversation between two souls that has been ongoing since long before either of you was aware of it. As this monumental shift draws closer, you will notice something unusual happening to the texture of your daily life. The volume will drop. The frantic quality of your thoughts will begin to quiet. The compulsive need to check for updates, to track their movements, to interpret every scrap of available information for hidden meaning, that exhausting cycle will begin to loosen its grip on you. And you must honor this. You must not mistake the quiet for abandonment. It is not the universe going silent on you. It is the universe asking you to finally become still enough to hear what it has been trying to tell you all along. True cosmic alignment does not compete with noise. It does not arrive in flashes and dramatic signs designed for maximum visibility. It moves in the register of stillness, and it waits, with infinite patience, for you to drop below the surface of your panic and find it there. This is why it is absolutely vital that you do not frantically search for loud validations. Do not obsessively track their movements in that foreign country. Do not monitor who they are photographed with or what their location tells you or what mutual connections might be whispering. Every moment you spend surveilling the old story is a moment you are not building the new one. Every unit of energy you send in the direction of their false journey is energy stolen from your own accelerating evolution. The universe is actively guiding you into a sanctuary of profound inner peace, and that peace is not merely a comfort offered to soften a permanent loss. It is a preparation. It is the ground being cleared and leveled for something magnificent to be built on it. When the karmic lesson with the third party reaches its natural expiration, and it will, because all karmic entanglements carry a built-in expiry date written into their very nature, a lesson that once learned dissolves the bond that held it in place, they will find their way back to your physical dimension. Not because you held on hard enough or wished intensely enough or performed your healing correctly, but because some things are simply true. The way gravity is true, the way the tide returning to shore is true. And when they finally stand before you, the reunion will defy every logical framework you have for understanding how time and distance and loss work. It will not feel like building something new from scratch, gathering materials, and laying foundations and hoping the structure holds. It will feel like returning to something that was never actually gone, only temporarily obscured. It will hit you with the force of ancient memory, a deep, cellular nostalgia for a bond that your body remembers even when your mind has tried to convince you it was imagined. You will look at each other and there will be a moment, brief and eternal simultaneously, where everything that happened in between simply falls away. Not because it did not matter, not because the pain was not real or the distance was not vast, but because what you are recognizing in that moment is something that exists outside of chronological time, something that does not accrue damage the way ordinary things do, something that the entire apparatus of separation was ultimately unable to touch. In a fraction of a second, the oceans of distance and the months of silence will evaporate into nothingness. You will feel an overwhelming, grounding warmth move through your entire body. Not the desperate heat of longing finally satisfied, but something quieter and deeper than that. The absolute sensation of setting down a weight you have carried so long you forgot it was not a natural part of you. The feeling of finally walking through a door you have been standing outside of, in all weather, for what feels like your entire life. And then the physical embrace will happen. That universe stopping moment will not just be two arms wrapping around a body. It will be the cosmos delivering its verdict in the only language that bypasses all argument and all doubt, the language of direct, undeniable experience. In the heavy, beautiful weight of that embrace, every single tear you cried in the dark when you thought no one was watching, every desperate question you whispered to the ceiling at 3 a.m., every morning you woke up and chose to keep going anyway, all of it will be answered simultaneously, not with words but with the unmistakable sensation of having arrived. Time itself will seem to bend and suspend in that moment, as if even the universe needs to pause and honor the magnitude of what two souls endured to find their way back to each other. But hear this clearly, my beautiful soul, because this is perhaps the most important thing I will say to you today. Do not mistake this earth-shattering reunion for the finale. The embrace is not the ending of the story, it is the true beginning of it. Everything that came before, the waiting and the weeping and the devastating plane tickets and the foreign country and the months of silence, all of that was the prologue. Necessary, and real, and worthy of every tear you gave it. But the masterpiece lies in what comes after. In the quiet Tuesday mornings. In the ordinary conversations that carry extraordinary weight because you both know what it costs to get to a place where ordinary is finally possible. In the way you will look at each other across unremarkable moments and feel, without needing to say it, the full depth of what you survived to be standing here. Two deeply transformed people, who walked through their individual fires and came out the other side not unscathed but genuinely changed, finally choosing each other from a place of complete clarity rather than need, complete openness rather than desperation. That is the love story worth waiting for. That is the version of this connection that has the structural integrity to hold. Not the version that would have been built in the middle of all that noise and manipulation and blindness. But this one. The one being constructed, even now, in the invisible architecture of everything you are both being asked to become. So let them board that plane. Let them take their karmic detour across the ocean. Let the universe execute its strategy with the intelligence and precision that has always been its signature, working in the background of your life long before you learn to look for it. The destruction of their false reality has already begun in ways they cannot yet perceive. Your ultimate dawn is not a distant abstraction, it is already in motion, already on its way, already written into the coordinates of where your story is heading. All you are being asked to do is trust. Not blindly, not foolishly, not in the way that abandons discernment or ignores your own knowing, but in the way of someone who has finally learned to read the deeper current running beneath the surface of events. Stay in your stillness. Stay in your becoming. Let the quiet inside you grow large enough to hold what is coming. It is already on its way home to you.